Hello, this is Craig Resnick coming to you from the 2018 ARC Advisory Group Orlando Forum. With me today is my special guest, Dawn Pearson, Chief Strategy Officer of Inductive Automation. How you doing today, Dawn?
Pretty good, Craig. It's good to be here again.
Excellent. Obviously, interest in the industrial IoT continues to grow. We can certainly feel that at this forum. Was your company able to really leverage that market trend? And if so, what were some of the success stories that you had this year?
Yeah, I'd say we were able to leverage it pretty well, Craig. And I think over the years, some of what we've done as a business model is really coming to the fore even more so as one looks at the evolution of IoT. Some things which we've pushed again and again are really facilitating that. Unlimited pricing model, I can't neglect to say, because as one builds out IoT infrastructures, you start talking about connecting together, I don't know, thousands of PLCs, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of sensors. And the fact that we have an unlimited tags, unlimited device connections, unlimited model towards a license by the server sales process, it really allows people to extend out these enterprises in the IoT way. So you end up in a situation where, traditionally, you could have a project never see the light of day. It would get stuck in the CFO's pending basket because it simply didn't scale out economically, even though technically it could. So I think our pricing model and the platform and the way it's orchestrated allows for those connections very, very well. And it's really, we're very pleased to see the trend that's been going on for a long time really play into a business model that we're very comfortable with.
Another trend we've certainly heard a lot about at the forum is edge. What does inductive automation offer in the edge?
Well, interesting. 2 years ago at this forum, we launched with CirrusLink Solutions the MQTT modules for Ignition. And those allowed an organization to really take advantage of IoT infrastructures using message-oriented middleware and the MQTT transport protocol. Last year, we announced our module suite for Ignition Edge. So you have Ignition Edge Panel, which allows you to have the HMI functionality at the edge. We have Ignition Edge Enterprise, which allows you to take the information into the enterprise, and Ignition Edge MQTT by CirrusLink Solutions, which gives you the opportunity to bring those device data right into the enterprise using MQTT. Those three modules have really empowered edge capabilities and have really started an evolution of more and more device manufacturers finding that they need to bring that power to the edge so that it basically makes it easier to build out those IoT architectures.
Yeah. I know you guys had a great year in 2017. What are some of the initiatives you're taking in 2018 to continue that momentum?
We always come up with something for the next year, Craig, and usually we announce it here. So, in the press conference earlier this week, we were able to then bring to the fore what we're calling the Ignition Onboard program. If you take what I just said to the last question there, and you take the MQTT modules for Ignition, and you add on to that Ignition Edge modules, what's happened is device manufacturers, the OEMs, folks are really realizing that they need to build smart products. That's also part of this evolution to IoT, as you're saying, we want our products to be smart and sit on top of platforms, not be isolated, because the data needs to get into the enterprise. So with Ignition on board, for either Ignition Edge on board or the full Ignition on board, we've set up a program where device manufacturers can ship their product already preloaded with Ignition. And we do co-marketing and various other things to enter the marketplace with them. But it allows people to take Ignition as a platform and build on top of that and connect to those devices, so you start having big data that really does capture all that enterprise data that's necessary. So the onboard program has been a big step. We're really pleased with the response to it. I mean, we have companies like Moxa and Hilscher and Advantech, B&B SmartWorks, and Opto22 are all sort of moving their organizations going in that direction. And we believe if we build a good platform, it's going to attract more and more and more of those device manufacturers to take advantage of our edge offering.
Yeah, and to further elaborate on that, what do you see as some of the big challenges that manufacturers and processors have going forward, and maybe how some of those solutions can address some of those challenges?
One big challenge, and it's interesting, there was some research done by the World Economic Forum about the manufacturer's awareness and business leaders' awareness of the disruptive nature of what's happening with IoT, with Industry 4.0 is very high. 80% of business leaders, for a study done last year by the World Economic Forum, say 84% are aware that their business is going to be majorly disrupted by IoT and Industry 4.0 technologies in the next 5 years, which is now 4 years left. And only 7% of business leaders have an IoT strategy. I think that's a major challenge. You got 93% of people involved in business, a good percentage, know it's coming. They don't have a plan. You know, and I think there's sort of an old definition of insanity says, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always got. If they don't change, nothing's going to change. And I believe the mental challenge, in addition to the technical challenges, the mental challenge to some of these organizations to change their legacy business model as well as some of their legacy technology models is a pretty big gap for a lot of them to get over.
You know, you mentioned some of your partners earlier, and we all know how important partnerships are and having that strong ecosystem is today. So what are you doing regarding, what specific programs do you have for partnerships at Inductive Automation?
Well, first off, I'd say that one of the things that we don't do with partnerships is we don't have in our partnerships a requirement where a person does a certain amount of business with us or different quotas or things like that, simply because we have a philosophy that if we build the platform, and the platform, the Ignition platform, is an industrial application platform that's capable of really empowering IoT solutions or the broad architectures that we're recommending, then people will do it because it merits it. So we sort of have a sort of meritocracy viewpoint. If our product is the right solution for a customer, use it. If it's not, don't. Go with what's correct for that customer, because at the end of the day, that customer should be driving the process of what we offer them. That being said, we have two major programs. One is integrators. We go to market straight through integrators. We have 1,600 integrators doing business in over 100 countries, and we give free support to integrators. We have training programs and certification programs. So the integrators build their knowledge and expertise in Ignition and utilize that to the benefit of their customers. And we do everything we can to facilitate that process. Secondly, though, as relation to the onboard program that I mentioned, is as device manufacturers and companies build modules on top of Ignition or connectivity at the edge, we're seeing our ecosystem grow in two directions. Take a company like Seek, and Seek ends up building on top for business analytics. But then you take somebody like Opto22, and they're putting Ignition Edge on all of their groove boxes, and it comes preloaded. So we're taking both ends, and then a strategic partner like CirrusLink Solutions, they're building injectors to AWS and an injector to Microsoft Azure, so that they're taking we have an API, we give a free SDK to people, they take that software development kit, and they build modules on top of Ignition. And that is a real key part of our strategy, because those organizations bring vertical expertise, they bring that domain expertise that we don't have. If we make a good platform, then it allows those people to take and build the solution on top of it. They put it in our module showcase, and at the end of the day, the customer has edge devices connected, modules for individual functionality, and the platform as a de facto standard inside the organization. And that combination has allowed us to be, I think, very effective to bring that expertise that the customer needs to solve these very challenging organizational migration strategies as they go forward.
Okay. And just one last quick question. You have your forecast for 2018. I know it's looking for a lot of continued growth. What economic headwinds or tailwinds could you see that could have an impact on your forecast?
We're kind of optimistic, so I'll take the optimistic side here. The challenges that companies are facing to migrate to IoT solutions, the subject of this conference, where you're talking about smart cities or data security and real transforming of enterprises, is really, for us, a tailwind. It's really pushing us along, you know, and we're very, very pleased to. That's why we come here every year. We want to be responsive, and so we learn a lot listening to the keynotes and the breakout sessions. So I think that is basically a tailwind for us. The headwind that organizations face, which is the demand for them to change and change rapidly, and that's a big challenge for some of these organizations, honestly, has worked to our advantage too. Because if we can get a little bit of a footprint, we can basically give them a fairly easy. It's so easy to use Ignition that it allows them to make that kind of jump a little more easily. And the pricing model always plays a role, because no one's got more money than they need to try and make this transformation. So we're hopeful that that combination of things allows us to see our optimism as a reality as 2018 unfolds.
Well, that sounds great, Don. Thank you very much. And this is Craig Resnick again from the 2018 ARC Advisory Group Orlando Forum. Thank you very much. Have a great day.